Welcome back, everyone. It is the Blue Badger, and I bet you thought we were done with just the mayor. The mayor? No. No. There are two more people with much more text to fulfill. Atheist Cat 2004 said something along the lines of, "My God, your poor voice," or something along the lines. You know, I'm just going to actually open up my YouTube page. You guys can just wait here, and I'm going to read exactly what he said. Yeah, don't worry. Just watch NieR do some squats. It's cool. Yes, I feel sorry for you, bro. That was a lot of reading. You thought that was enough? Well, no. No, there is more. The forest of text, said Bane Biscuits. And so, with that, onward to the next puzzle after I break this box. There we go. Oh, it's a medicinal herb. Never mind. I came prepared. I've lit some incense and I've got a drink to stop me from being dehydrated. And with that, let's begin. This must be another person infected by the Death Dream. It would appear that way, yes. Enter this villager's dream? I guess so. Gods, please don't tell me we have to go back in there. I'm no good at this mind game crap. I'd rather hit something in the face and be done with it. Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission. Yeah. I breathe the air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked under a stairway in the long unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside, I hear the sounds of a funeral dirge that seems without end. Light has no place here. Wind is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes. An eternity slips by in the single tick of the clock. Someone knocks on my prison. Hey, is anyone there? I hear an unfamiliar voice say. My saviour! I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help. I laugh. I sob. Surely this is a product of my addled mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me! I cry. For the love of all the gods, help me! Impossibly, I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired man and a floating book before the light pours inside. My eyes, accustomed to blackness, explode with pain, and I am forced to turn away. Who are you? I ask, shaking hands covering my face. How have you come to this place? I am Grimoire Weiss. This is NieR. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, stand. We shall awaken from this nightmare together. The one known as NieR extends his massive hand and pulls me from the cell. Though my eyes are slow to adjust to freedom, my ears are as keen as ever, and they recognize the staccato sounds of heavy rain. I never thought to hear the rain again, I whisper. Would that this were not such a terrible storm, said Grimoire Weiss. Look at your feet. I force my eyes open and see water pooling around my feet and lapping at my shins. There's so much of it. Yes, and more comes with each moment we delay. If we do not make good of our escape, we shall all drown in this castle. We know you are weak, but you are our only hope to survive this place. Time, that long-forgotten friend, made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers, no matter the cost. The castle catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like an endless entrails of a giant. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet. All are covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door to the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of grey matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall, and despite my fever, I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away on the wind. Realization slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses! I look from it to the bed, and back again until the horror dawns full upon me. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower and set them ablaze. Whether they were alive or dead, I do not know. And sanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door and leaving that most terrible of rooms. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed east. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed further north. At the end of the path, water rises to my waist, exhausting me both physically and spiritually. I pray that this is the way out. Eventually, I can stand the sight of the waters no longer, and so turn my eyes upward. Imagine my surprise when I see a series of paintings hanging on the faded plaster wall. Each depicts a person in the prime of life, clad in clothing of the highest quality. The styles, however, are strange to me, leading me to believe that these people had lived long, long ago. One subject wears an outfit that particularly catches my eye. It is constructed of a thin, breezy cloth and decorated with a motif of flowers and birds, while encircling the figure's waist is a leather belt of the most perfect construction. It is a stunning costume, even by modern standards. As I gaze at the portrait, I am struck by a desire to touch it with my own hands. Yet as I extend a single finger to the painting, I am gripped by the most unpleasant feeling. Staring closely at the image, I see it bend and warp into the shape of another finger. Something behind the picture is pointing at me. Is it another prisoner? A fellow inmate trapped for eternity in this place? I cannot let it pass, and so I seize the portrait with both hands and throw it into the water. The wall is hollow and behind the painting, the wall is hollow behind the painting, and inside I can just make out a body. Whether or not this is a prisoner, there would be no rescue. This poor soul is long dead. Scraps of clothing lie on the floor around the bones. Only a small amount of the fabric has survived, but it features the same delicate designs that were depicted in the portrait. I have been admiring a row of corpses blocked from view by portraits of each victim at their pinnacle. Enough! Shielding my eyes, I paddle through the water. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed south. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed east. At the end of the path, I find myself in a great hall with only the sounds of rain for my comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the centre of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table upon which rest china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movement, I approach the chair at the table's head, but as the truth of matter dawns on me, I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wriggling insects have made homes in their remains, and this is the movement I saw. This once splendid feast was now nothing more than a requiem for the damned. Let me try that again. This once splendid feast was now nothing more than a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to steady my shaking hands, then slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, my gaze lands on the chairs upon which the dead were seated. This is a mistake, for the chairs prove to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes that run from the seat, up the back and down the arms. This explains the colour of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. For if not, it is a simple task to envision the agonised screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind grasps frantically at the possibility that all of these souls had committed some terrible crime for which this was punishment. Though in truth, I suspect they had committed no crime at all. There would be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was their last supper. I squint down the corridors and proceed north. Against all hope, we make it to the front door. "Break it down!" someone cries, and so I give myself to the effort. In tandem with NieR and Grimoire Vice, I slam my body against the thick, sturdy door, and on the third try it gives way, and we find ourselves sprawled in front of the castle. The storm is in retreat. The clouds above are still dark and foreboding, but to the west, I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. How can I thank you? I cry as tears join the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters, and sheepishly try to uncover my exposed skin. "Your dress?" asks Vice. "Then you are a woman, madam?" "Yes, I am." I prefer to a smile. I suppose this comes something of as a surprise, seeing as how I exist only in the form of words. I can see that the one known as NieR is disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description, but he hides it well, with a nod and a shrug. The three of us set forth to our awakening. But behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, providing the countless damned souls inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle's windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to their new life as shades. You have anything to say about that? Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time. I hear you. And that was one of the riddles. So you might be wondering what the whole point of that little multi-choice answer thing was. I don't really get it myself either. The only thing that you need to know is that you must always choose either east or north when given the option. Otherwise it doesn't really matter. That was a really strange dream. I guess there was something to it, or was there? It sounded all, people becoming shades. In a castle? I don't see no castles around here. Maybe it was full of shit. Maybe it was not. Who knows? Maybe these dreams all mean something in their own twisted way. But before we get on to the next section... Oh, my incest ran... My incest? Wow! My incense ran out! That sucks, and I don't have the time to light another one. I'm never going to live that word down. Let me just take a sip of my drink here before we continue on. Ah, refreshing. Okay, deep breath. And off we go. And another victim! This work is certainly trying. I'm surprised, Vice. You're a book. All this word stuff should be right up your alley. Yes, quite. Well, enough chatter. Let's be off. A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Weiss and NieR had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in. Hey, Weiss, we keep walking, but those things don't get any closer. I don't get it. Are they really that big? As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity. Perhaps they are some manner of mirage, he said. Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. NieR nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface, as if defying those that had laid down this material over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made NieR lightheaded. Suddenly, he dropped to his knees and slammed his hand against the black surface. God damn it! Is this some kind of joke? Well, I'm not laughing! The complaining had already begun. Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. A joke? He said. No, no joke. This road leads to the City of Art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. Oh, come on! That's bullshit and you know it! Possibly, but thinking of it in its own way might make it easier for you to bear. NieR glanced at Weiss's grinning face, cursed silently to himself, and resumed walking. As time passed, NieR's feet grew more painful, and his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead, because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. We are definitely getting closer, said Weiss in an effort to cheer his companion. Yes, this much is certain. Encouraged, NieR lifts his gaze. Suddenly, he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. Water! He cried. It's water! Water? asked Weiss. Preposterous. I don't see any water. It's right there, you idiot! Can't you see it? Look, the sun is reflecting off of it! Without waiting for a response, NieR sprang to life and bounded towards the sight. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. NieR closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floated up behind him, chuckling softly. I believe this is known as a mirage, he said. Many a desert traveller has spoken of such things. NieR shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly he pointed off in the distance, his eyes wide once more. Wait, there it is! I just missed it! Look, it's right there! NieR sprinted off again, leaving Weiss with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, NieR came to a halt. I could have sworn it was right here! Right around here! Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue, shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour, until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to NieR and struck him in the face with his cover. You damn blithering idiots! There is no water here! NieR's face clouded. There isn't? There is not, and perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much. Weiss paused for a moment, and continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the City of Art. NieR looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. Their journey was at an end. "They're huge!" cried NieR, completely forgetting that the heat and pain of the past few hours. I've never seen anything so big! Ooh, well, about that, NieR, haha! Big sculpture, never mind. Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up towards the sky. But that is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected the light off in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. "What kind of city is this?" said NieR. "Where are the people? Where are the houses?" "Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use." The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works with lights of red, amber and green dangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colours and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, NieR and Weiss eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shapes of humans. NieR uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally! I was getting tired of modern art. The 3 statues were indistinguishable except for a single word chiselled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As NieR moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures, alighting on the statue's shoulder. It emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. "Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false one will only speak lies." With that, the bird departed, as if on cue. The 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring colour and form as they began to breathe. "Hey, look at that!" said NieR. "They're alive!" The triplets bowed low before NieR. "Please," said Alpha, "you have to get me out of this nightmare! I am real!" "Stop lying!" He turned to NieR and threw his hands in the air. "Alphas are fake, you know! I am the real one!" "What a load of crap," said Gamma. "Beta is a fake! Everyone knows I am the only real one around here." Their respective pleas given, the 3 statues returned to their frozen state as silence once again envelops the city. "When you consider all of the statements, only one of them can be considered the real thing," said Weiss. NieR furrowed his eyebrows and considered an answer. "Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false one will only speak lies." I'll give you a few seconds to ponder on that, but this is a very common riddle. And, being honest, it's very nice of the game to explain itself for you, because sometimes riddles don't come with an explanation. Have you thought of an answer? Is it Alpha, Beta, or Gamma? It happens to be Beta. The real one is Beta? Though NieR's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Weiss nodding at him. "If Alpha were telling the truth," began Weiss in the dry tones of a lecturer, "Beta and Gamma would be fakes. But in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore, that theory crumbles. Now, let us presume that Gamma spoke the truth. That makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with two statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma's lies would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real. As Vice has finished his explanation, Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundlessly into dust, while Beta sprang to life once more. "Congratulations, villager," said Vice in a cheerful voice. "The time to awaken has arrived." "Thank you for saving me," cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as it could go before an uncomfortable NieR pulled him to his feet. "Why did you have a dream like this?" asked Vice. "Have you been to the city before?" The villager slowly looked around at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape, then shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way I could have ever been to a place like this. But at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before." "Deja vu," muttered NieR. "It's just like that damn mayor." The vague sense of unease that struck NieR during the mayor's dream spread once more through his mind. Okay, that was terrible. I am positive I have seen that place before. Stop! I get enough of that foreboding crap from everyone else in my life. Don't you start too. Okay, there. Now all of the villagers can wake up, right? Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct. I think I've had enough wordplay to last a lifetime, thank you very much. Yeah, I hear you. Well, let's go see the mayor. To let you know, this part was completely optional. You didn't have to do it. But the reason why I do it is because of this.
Hello.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Here, I have something for you. Obtained the one-handed sword, Faith. Holy crap! I can really have this? Of course! It's apparently a weapon of some renown, but we have little use for it. Thank you, again, for everything. Let's have a look at that sword. So, yep, it's a katana. It's a pretty sweet katana, it's really fast, does a good deal of damage, has only about 20% magic power, but we can upgrade this to be one of the most formidable one-handed weapons available. We should probably seek about upgrading it, but I'll probably do that off camera because it's just too much of a waste. Well, a waste of screen time, really. Ah, I'm so glad that that text is all finally over. I wait. Ah, hello again. You know, I've been trying to figure out a way to thank you for saving me, and I think I've got it. We're going to put up a statue of you. It will be 10 feet high and made of pure gold. Oh, and I know you don't own a horse, but I think we'll put you on one anyway. Horses just make people look more heroic, you know? How's that? You don't want a statue? Oh, I thought you'd really enjoy it. Just a moment, let me have a sip of my drink. This is getting exhausting. Regardless, thanks to your tireless efforts, our village is at peace once more. And at peas. Was that a joke? I don't remember that part. What? And at peas. Like, when Homer Simpson was reaching for the peas with his knife and he says, I want peas. Yes, peas. Peace. Nice little bit of wordplay there. Oh. That's a little agricultural joke right there. Anyway, I've been thinking about the other things beside bad jokes and statues. I've also decided that we need to start holding the village festival again. We used to have it every year, but the last mayor thought it was old-fashioned or something, and he killed it. But since I'm mayor, I can start it up again. That's not abusing my power or anything, is it? What's that? You don't want to hear about the festival? Well, the official name is the Feast of the 3 Days. We call it that because everyone sits around a huge table and eats for 3 days straight. No sleeping allowed. Oh, and we hold it on the foggiest of days of the year, so it's hard to tell what you're eating. Some of the dishes are delicious, but some are really rare, and, well, there's some weird stuff in them. Let's leave it at that, like weed. Anyway, you'd be pretty surprised what you can eat when you haven't slept for a couple of days. I'll make sure that a room is prepared for you so that you can be the guests of what? What? You can't come? You have to wash your hair. Oh. Alright, well I guess that's understandable, what with the adventuring and all. Truthfully, I think this town needs a little bit more of group bonding. I think this town needs more group bonding activities like that. It'll help us to get to know each other, and also promote unity in times of crisis and so forth. Weiss coughed loudly. How much longer must we spare the insufferable flapping of this fool's gums? He whispered to NieR. Ah, let him talk. He just woke up. Guy probably just has a lot on his mind. Weiss sighed. This must have been what Popola meant by bright and talkative. And you think he's the only one? No, he's not! There's 2 more to go! And for the sake of completion, I will listen to all of them. After a little bit of entertaining spinning! Okay, you know what? I can't keep this up. I'm just gonna have a sip of my drink and continue. Oh, it's you. Can I talk to you for a minute? Here, over here. These are my neighbours. I was just telling them about the dream I had. You know, the one you rescued me from? They don't believe me. They say I'm making this whole thing up. Who could invent something like that? I remember the darkness. I remember the screams. Listen, you have to back me up here. They think I'm crazy. Oh, fuck. Whoops. Tell them how you pulled me out of that cell, and there was water everywhere, and how it was rising so quickly. Part of me was convinced that you had rescued me, only to let me drown, you know. Wait. And let me drown, you know? I don't want to drown. People talk about how it's peaceful, but I think they're lying. And tell them about the bodies. The bodies, oh god. There were so many of them. There was the room with the beds and the corpses like pieces of charcoal. I keep thinking about the fire and how hot it must have been. But then I don't want to remember it anymore, so I think about the wine. Only it wasn't wine, it was blood! And it was still warm. Sometimes I can still smell it. I'll be eating a piece of pie, and all I can smell is the warm blood mixing with the rising water. It's hard to eat now. When I see a table, I think about the feast, and the guests, and how the carpet squished beneath my feet when I walked. I don't know. It's weird. The pictures are maybe the worst. I keep wondering if they knew they were going to die, and how they could sit still knowing that each stroke of the brush is a step closer to death. I think about stuff like that a lot now. Actually, I have a hard time thinking about anything else. I don't sleep much. Sleep is hard. I see such terrible things when I close my eyes. Anyway, I was hoping you could tell my neighbours so... Where'd they go? They left a while ago, said NieR quietly. Doubtless they found your dream a bit disturbing, said Weiss. Perhaps you could find something else to talk about with them, Such as the weather. Or kittens. The villager smiled softly at NieR, but the smile soon faded from her face. As the 2 of them slowly backed away, they could see tears beginning to fall from the corners of her eyes. Nice job, heroes. Great work. And it's time for the final one. Finally. Oh hey, it's you! The guy who saved me from that crazy city! It's great to talk to you again. You're my hero, you know that? Oh, come on, don't be shy, it's alright. The mayor even said we're gonna build you a statue and everything. I hear you've been travelling the world. Good for you. Travel is the key to happiness, you know. Getting out in the world, meeting your fellow humans face to face. It really changes the way you see things. I think change like that would be vital in the new world that's coming. How's that? Me? No, I've never travelled. I've never left this village. To tell you the truth still, I'd like to get out someday. I think our world is dying. Seriously, think about it. The Mayans and everything. I mean, what? You've got the black scroll, the shades, the mysterious illnesses, like the death dream. It's like something is trying to give us a warning. In fact, I'm sure this is a warning. We need to change our ways before it's too late. I'd like to help change the world, but I'm just a simple villager. Not like you guys. You're on the front lines of everything, rushing in with swords and magic spells and stuff like that. Hey, I know. Maybe we can join forces and change the world together. I mean, with your experience and talent and my, well, whatever I have. Anyway, I think we could really make a difference. This world needs a leader, someone who can unite the people in a common purpose. You probably have to be kind of tough too. I mean, this isn't the world that appreciates calm discussion, you know. He also needs to be smart and have the ability to look down the road and think about what's best for the future. I bet you'd be perfect. Whoops. Huh? You think I should do it? Oh, no, that's not. I mean, thanks and everything, but no thanks. I'm not a public limelight kind of guy. I'd rather hang around the background and help from here, you know? Like an advisor or a puppet master or whatever they're called. Actually, I think I'd be pretty good at that. NieR and Weiss left before the village could hand them a copy of his pamphlet, 10 Simple Ways to Save the World. As they walked, Weiss pondered openly about the man. I suppose that he is what they call an armchair general. And with that, the chapter is over. Finally, everything, every last little bit of word for now is done. Gone. Finished. Dirt. Tree branch. My god, that was a lot of talking. Let me just have one last sip before I bid you adieu. Nevermore. I don't even know why I said that. I'm sorry. Anyway, take care everyone. That was the last of the reading. And hopefully I'll see you for a side quest edition of NieR. See you there, everyone.